But I should live and wait till Bitcoin rises again.
A wise man said that we should reach 100K this month.
Really?
No,
So why are you lying to me then?
I don't know. Oh, I remembered now.
Huh?
And it's gone.
Up 500, baby, never a doubt. Oh no, it's crashing. It's crashing!
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Having a look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Markets don't really look too bad. Now, what is happening right now? We've had a lot of panic and fear in the markets, right? We have literally seen the fear and greed index slowly creeping back into the fear territory. We had this first dump right here around the BitMEX scare, and then the second little mini dump right here regarding President Trump's COVID situation. However, it really doesn't seem like the markets are reacting as bad as some may have thought. In fact, we've seen much bigger dumps than this in the past over relatively smaller situations in the cryptocurrency space. So today I want to talk about whether or not the Bitcoin FUD has already actually been priced in. Maybe all of the uncertainty has already been priced in all of the markets around the uncertainty of the virus, around the uncertainty of BitMEX, around the uncertainty of, the president catching the virus, right? That could be the situation. So I also want to discuss the fact that we could potentially be retesting $12,000 a lot sooner than most people think. And I also want to talk about a former Goldman Sachs VP who's explaining exactly why him and his colleagues have been buying Bitcoin, are going to continue to buy Bitcoin, and he also talks about how much Bitcoin you should allocate in your portfolio to hedge against. So we're going to talk about that. We also have this mysterious 50 Bitcoin transaction. Now you might be saying to yourself, oh, well, big deal. They sent 50 Bitcoin. Yes, but the transaction before that was actually in 2010, and guess what? It was newly generated coins. So how come there are Bitcoin that have not moved in a decade moving yesterday? What does this all mean? We'll get into that. Also, I do have some big news for my friends in the USA. Stick around to the end for that. If all that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely consider it. And without further ado, let's dive directly into the charts, which honestly really haven't changed. So not a lot of TA today, guys. Not much has changed. In fact, what I think we could potentially see right here on the CME futures chart is the fact that we have had this sort of retest of the heart line of the center. So what I'm thinking actually is we might go sideways over the weekend. Then when markets open, we could actually see a pump on Monday back to about $10,800. So I know that goes against what most people are thinking. They think we're going to have this crazy dump. Now, keep in mind, over the weekends, things could get a little crazy, a little volatile, but actually, we may be looking for the big move come Monday, and I do think it's going to be to the upside. I could be wrong, could be crazy news, but having a look at this chart, I think the next move would be maybe even one day of sideways, and then Tuesday we pump to the upside. See if I'm right, could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking by having a look at the charts right here. However, on the off chance that we do fall, I still do think that we will be supported by the legacy trend, keeping my eyes on the 9,005. And right now, you could tell that it's still in no man's land. We either have to break up into the blue box zone above to get back into the bullish territory, or we need to break down below into the blue zone to get into the bearish. We're still just hanging around in the middle, so it's really difficult to say, but, we have, the president coming out testing positive and, chuckles, I'm in danger, right? Really no effect on the markets whatsoever. So I'm actually going to tell you why what we've seen in the past couple days actually could be bullish for Bitcoin. And I know that sounds like a little bit of a, clickbait, whatever. But seriously, I'm going to show you why in a second. Now, one thing I want to talk about is we did have over 45,000 Bitcoin that was withdrawn from BitMEX when people were freaking out, right? Now, you would have thought that this 45,000 Bitcoin would have had a bigger impact. It really didn't. So now keep in mind, BitMEX hasn't exactly had the greatest record of trust, so to speak. The exchange started losing its trust basically during the blackout, when on Black Thursday, they basically just completely, there was an issue, the website went down, whatever. So that was a lot of issues that people were having. Now, they had 100,000 Bitcoin that have been moved since then, but according to data from Crystal Blockchain, in less than 48 hours, the net outflow was 45,000, and most of these Bitcoin actually just got sent to other exchanges. So it wasn't like people were like cashing out. I mean, some of them were, obviously, but regardless of the partial recovery to 10,600, which was relatively quick, derivatives markets have stayed steady around the drop. Neither Bitcoin futures or options displayed any signs of discomfort to the negative news. Now, let's talk about what this could mean. Well, this chart right here actually shows a 5.4% or higher annualized 3% contract premium for every exchange except BitMEX. Essentially, professional traders are signaling that their expectations were not really harmed by the events. Now, the 25% delta skew is used for gauging professional trader sentiment throughout options pricing. The 3-month options 25% delta skew has held in neutral terrain, oscillating between 0% and negative 5%. So if anything, yesterday's event was deemed basically a non-event, or 2 days ago, a non-event, right? So people say, are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? Well, there is no better indicator that you're in a bull market that when you have terrible news, the price is barely affected, right? When you are in a true bear market, any little bit of negative, minuscule little FUD dumps the price 5, 10, 15, 20%, right? And no amount of good news can shake the markets. Well, in a bull market, right, you have good news coming out and the price correlates, but when you have terrible news, the price barely moves. So if we were in a true bear market and people were really super ultimate fearful and price is just going to keep going down, don't you think the price would have moved a little bit more than it did? Also, Bitcoin derivatives data continues to hold steady during the turbulent news, and traders could potentially be looking for a $12,000 Bitcoin sooner than later. What else is telling me this? Well, even if price was to drop, let's say it does go lower, we have seen the amount of Bitcoin held on exchanges actually at record lows, which means that they're getting pulled off the exchanges, which is telling me that people are looking to long-term hodl their Bitcoin. And having a look at the amount of Tether held on exchanges, it's actually reached a 5-month low for withdraws, which means that there's more USDT held on exchanges. So the Bitcoin is in cold storage and the Tether is on the exchanges. Think about this logically. Bitcoin in cold storage, Tether on exchanges. What do you think they're planning on doing with all of this USDT? They're not just going to sit there and look at it because they know it's going to lose value just like the dollar. These investors, these whales, they are waiting to purchase the dip. They are waiting to pounce on any opportunity. You do not sit on the sidelines with all of this cash waiting to pounce on an opportunity if you don't think that it's an excellent time to buy Bitcoin and you don't think it's going to go up, right? So, I mean, you could say that if they're sitting in cash, that means that, moving into cash is a sign of market uncertainty. But the way that I take it is that they're actually looking for an opportunity to jump in and get some potential cheap Bitcoin because they know what Bitcoin is going to do. And just to prove this to you, that they are betting big on Bitcoin, you had on October 1st, there was an interview with Jason Urban, the CEO of Drawbridge Lending, and he's a former trader at Goldman Sachs. And he explained during an interview that both gold and Bitcoin can protect investors, and he talks about why him and his colleagues are buying. Actually, between 2000 and 2009, he actually ran the Goldman Sachs equity volatility market making business. So he's not exactly a newbie to the space. It's not his first rodeo. Now, in 2008, Let me give you a little bit of a sort of a backstory, not a backstory, but a preamble, okay? In 2008, it was a banking crisis. It was concentrated in a handful of people. But he says now you're seeing a broader crisis. When unemployment levels are where they're at, when large segments of the population are out of work with no hope of going back to work, that's going to change the spending habits of people. That's going to change consumption habits. You know, all those things are going to be very different. Compare it to 2008. People were worried about losing their homes or their second homes or their third homes or things of that nature. Now you have people who don't necessarily know if the stimulus check is going to come out. If it does, where are they going to get their next, check from, their next meal from? Are they going to have a job? Do they have to look for a job? Is their job going to be there when they even come back? He basically goes on to say that he is a fan of traditional hedges like gold and silver, but he also likes Bitcoin and other crypto assets that can serve similar purposes. According to him, gold and Bitcoin are quite similar. He says, I think the biggest thing to look at is obviously the fixed finite supply. Similar to gold, its scarcity is similar, and so because of that, there isn't a party or a government actively working to devalue it. So from that standpoint, he says, I look at it and say they're very similar. With the dollar, if you held cash in a bank account, there's, inflationary specter. You're going to lose the value of the dollar, but there's no government printing gold, and there is definitely no government printing Bitcoin. He says that although Bitcoin's historic volatility is much higher than that of gold, it's worth remembering that the store of wealth factor works kind of both ways, meaning that Bitcoin's higher volatility could also help it go up a lot more than gold, right? So yes, you might be saying, well, isn't the volatility a bad thing? Yes, but it's also kind of appealing to these investors because you've seen Bitcoin move from, during the all-time high of 2017, we went from like 10,000 to 20,000 in like 5 weeks. Okay? Literally, a $10,000 Bitcoin became a $20,000 Bitcoin in 5 weeks. We have more interest, more money, more capital. Think about this time. If you think that was fast, we could go to $20,000 Bitcoin in a matter of weeks, 2 weeks even. It could happen. It could literally happen. So he goes on to say, as someone dealing in the institutional space, the same people that I see buying gold and other precious metals are also buying Bitcoin. And they're doing it simultaneously, and they're doing it in equal amounts currently. So from that standpoint, the people who are transacting and kind of driving price and dictating levels are looking at it in a very same way as well. Bitcoin is the new gold. Bitcoin is digital gold. This is bigger than most people realize. If you are watching this video right now and you're stressed out and you're like thinking to yourself, man, what did I get myself into with all this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mess? You really have to realize the advantage that you have over everyone else sleeping on these opportunities right now. You're upset that you might have not bought Bitcoin at 6,000 or 7,000 or something like that. And maybe we'll get that opportunity again. I'm not 100% sure. But think about all the people right now that are not even considering buying at 10, 11, 12, 15. Some people that are going to be FOMOing in at 20,000, 25,000, 55,000, right? Think about that, okay? You are still very early, my friends. And he says, I think it's become pretty clear regardless of which party is in power, there will be spending. And so from that standpoint, not really knowing where to place your bets tells me to be defensive in terms of what's going on in the global, my global stand on a global basis. It's a very similar concept, Bitcoin, gold. So given that volatility, given that uncertainty, I think it's better to preserve wealth before you end up losing it all. And he does recommend 5% in Bitcoin or other digital assets. So there's your answer. 5%, not financial advice, but financial advice from a financial advisor. So there you guys go. And speaking of Bitcoin, Charts BTC posted this the other day. The Bitcoin network had officially passed its 18.5 millionth Bitcoin in circulation, less than 2.5 million left, and half of those will be mined in the next year. You are here, my friends. Now, while you may be saying, wow, really missed all that opportunity to get all that Bitcoin. Well, let's be honest, Satoshi's got 1 million. There's about 4 million potentially lost forever. Grayscale's buying all of them, basically. But basically, long story short, the entire rest of the world, they basically got to get their Bitcoin up here, okay? We still have an opportunity right now, so just remember that, guys. Remember that. Now, let's talk about this mysterious Bitcoin transaction. We had 50 Bitcoin that was mined back in 2010, has just had its first transaction since then, and it's just random, and it's just for the first time been actually moved today. So literally a decade later, 10 years later. So what is this? Well, a few people have some opinions. Now, we did have a similar situation happen back in May, and it does pretty much seem like these are not Satoshi's coins, so we don't have to really worry about that too much having a look at, Chainalysis data. CZ commented on it. He says, last time 5 months ago, this was correlated with a 7% drop. This one, nothing. Correlation does not prove causation, LOL. And commenting on the previous times, you had Bitcoin Birch saying, yes, 50 very old Bitcoin just moved, as has happened 4 times in the past from the same time, actually 5 times now if you consider the time he's referencing. If they are selling, take comfort knowing that they have a habit of selling just before huge pumps. So yeah, no worries guys, nothing to freak out about. It is a little bit weird, but at the end of the day, really doesn't mean anything. So there you go. Now let's talk about some big news for the US and then let's get on out of here. So number one, we have 2 weeks ago, Kraken Financial received the first special purpose depository institution charter from the Wyoming banking division. With the hard work of well-known players such as Tyler Lindholm and Caitlin Long, the foundation has established for Wyoming to be the most crypto-friendly jurisdiction in the US. And now that laws are being passed and the charter is issued, it is up to Wyoming Banking Division regulators to begin the first ever crypto bank examination. So guys, we're going to be having our first crypto bank. This is absolutely insane. And also good news, if you're using Coinbase, I know some people get triggered when we talk about Coinbase, but it is a very easy ramp for people to get in and out of crypto. Obviously, yes, they're tracing your data. They're probably following all your transactions, but that's the risk you take when you use a centralized exchange, right? Anyway, so they are now offering instant withdrawals in nearly 40 countries, including the US and the UK. The new feature is being facilitated via Visa and MasterCard. Coinbase says its customers in the US, the UK, and Europe will be able to withdraw using Visa. And in the US, you will also be able to use MasterCard. So this is interesting. According to Terry Angelos, who's actually the SVP and global head of fintech at Visa, he commented saying, by enabling real-time card withdrawals to the Visa Direct capability, Coinbase is delivering a faster, simpler, and more connected experience for its users, making it easier to convert crypto balances into fiat, which can be spent at the more than 60 million merchant locations where Visa is accepted. So think about this now. You need to go buy some groceries. You can literally just sell your coins to your bank account and have it instantly. And, on maybe the 5-minute drive to the grocery store, by the time you get there, the money's already in the account. Swipe your card. Not really using crypto for its intended purpose, but hey, potential step in the right direction. But let me know what you guys think. Obviously, some people say this defeats the purpose of Bitcoin. At the end of the day, we need to make it easy to implement for people that are new to the space. Not everyone's going to want to be their own bank. I've talked about this a lot on the channel, but that's it for me today, guys. So let me know what you think about the charts. Do you think that we're going to potentially have a big pump at the beginning of next week? Do you actually think that all of this FUD is priced in? I mean, everybody knows that we have the elections, we have the virus, we have the uncertainty. We heard about the BitMEX situation. Maybe it's already priced in. You know what I mean? Maybe the drops that we've seen were really all we were going to see, and we could be looking to continue on our path, or maybe we have to close the dreaded CME futures gap. Ha ha, maybe, but we will see. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Hope you are enjoying this beautiful weekend. I mean, it's beautiful out here in New York. I don't know where you are, but either way, it's a beautiful weekend in general because we're all in the crypto space and we're early, right? Gotta look on the positive side. So thanks for coming back. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.